I am so excited about this particular new aspect of LinkedIn that I just wanted to share it with as many people as I possibly could. And so I decided to invite my newest connections and some friends to share some ideas with me around how to make this new section really pop and work particularly well. Now, I need to say before we start that it is not yet rolled out to everyone, and you may have it and you may still not yet have it and be waiting for it. And so, what I've tried to do with this presentation today is to make it so that whether you have it or whether you don't, you will still get something from it. Now, I recognise that this is a potentially difficult time of the day for some people, and so I am very delighted that so many of you have taken the time to join us. And if you are not able to stay for the full length of time, which I expect will be 20 to 25 minutes, then please don't worry, we will have a recording out to you as soon as Zoom makes it available to us later this afternoon. So quite a number of people have registered in order to receive the replay, which is fine because if they're in other parts of the world, it's a bit unrealistic to expect them to get up at 2 o'clock in the morning. So I am wanting to talk to you today about a number of aspects of the new featured section for LinkedIn. So this is what we are going to cover in the next little while. It's basically the who, what, where, when, why, and how of the new featured section. So it should cover everything that you need to know to make it work properly for you and also some ideas about how you can use it. So let's get started. The first thing you need to know is where to find the new featured section, and it sits quite nicely here between your About section and your dashboard. Now, essentially, featured is a splitting up of the About section. So the media that was all along the bottom of your About section is automatically being moved to the featured section. Now, if you didn't have any or don't have any media in your current About section, then this is where you go to put the featured section into your profile. It's up there at the top of your LinkedIn profile under Add Profile section. You can see that featured is listed there right in the middle. And when you click on that, this is what you will see. This is a list of the different media, links, other ideas that you are going to be able to add to your new featured section. We'll be coming back to this a couple of times. So if you haven't yet seen it and are a bit concerned about what it might entail, you'll hear more about that very shortly. Now, the next thing you need to know is what the featured section on your own profile looks like. And this is what it will look like. This is your featured section from somebody being looked at by somebody else. So there's some things here to note. The thumbnails are nice and big on the About section, are pretty small. So that's the first thing. The second thing is you can see here that we have got a title and underneath that a description. Now both of those are editable and you'll be able to change those at any time that you decide, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Now the see all arrow here, or the see all button with I have marked by an arrow, takes you to this display. And this is all of the items that are in your featured section from start to finish. Now, the good thing about that is you can scroll through them. You can just use your scroll bar up the top here to move up and down with them. And again, you can see them and they're nice and big, which is something that I really like because previously the media has displayed in a very weird way on LinkedIn. Now, when you are in your own featured section, this is what you are going to see. These are the controls up here on the right hand side so that you can see you've got the scrolling arrows that moves the items from left to right. the add addition button or the add media button where you can choose to add something new, and the editing pen, which you'll be familiar with from the other aspects of LinkedIn, which allows you to have some other controls on it as well. So then the options when you click onto the plus button are these, and this is the list that you saw earlier: posts, articles, links, and media. So we're going to talk about each of these in a bit of detail, and I'm going to show you some examples fairly shortly. But this gives you an idea of the things that you are going to be able to add. Now, one of the reasons I'm quite excited about Featured is because of posts. Now, before, you would not have been able to add posts to your profile, and consequently, their life expectancy was rather limited and was a bit fiddly to find them on other people's profiles. But now you're going to be able to find them a lot more easily. So what I'm going to show you here is just an example of how when you click into posts, it displays the posts that are currently on your profile. And you can just see them listed one after the other with the title, with the description here, and the feature button. Now, when you click that, it automatically adds it to your featured section. Easy, easy as. So when you finish that, don't forget to click the done button down here on the bottom right hand corner, because otherwise your changes will not save. Here's the voice of experience. Now then, if you're going to add an article, you will do it here on the articles section. Now, a couple of things about articles, which are not quite so favourable with this new featured section, unfortunately. At the moment, your articles appear automatically when you publish them in your activity section on your profile. Nice big photo and an image and all your other, there's an easy link to all your other articles. No longer. If you've got this, you will already know that they have disappeared from your profile. So what you will unfortunately have to do to get them back on your profile is to upload them manually. And that is the same for whether you have already posted articles or if you are going to post articles. Now, this presents a problem for somebody like Jackie Lane, who has 129 articles on her profile and will want to have them here and featured. So that's going to be a bit fiddly for Jackie in order to get them all up there. But it's worth doing it because, as most of us know and believe, articles are really important for your credibility on LinkedIn. So let's move on from articles to adding links. This is something I'm particularly excited about because the options are just almost endless. Now you can add a link from anywhere, any website, any material that is already posted somewhere and has a URL can go into this section here. Now that means it could be your website, it could be more than one page from your website, it could be pages from other people's websites. It also is where you put your video. Now when Featured was first launched, it looked very much like you would be able to upload video that is called native video, which means that you can upload a file direct from your computer. Now, it doesn't seem like this is possible in practice, which is a bit unfortunate. So any video that you upload is going to have to come via a third party platform like YouTube or Vimeo. Now, I'm hopeful that they'll change that and that we will be able to upload videos direct, but that may be some time away yet. So adding a link is really a critical thing too for your featured section. One word of warning about this that I am finding has not been resolved with these changes is that some websites do not display a nice image from their site when you upload them to LinkedIn. You just get that blank square box with nothing much in it, and that's a disappointment. So there are some options around that, which I will talk about in future videos and webinars, but that does seem to be something that is outside LinkedIn's control. Now, what else can we use? We can add files direct from our computer. So this is allowing you to add things like slides, SlideShare and PowerPoint presentations, You can add documents, you can add images, anything that is housed on your own computer, you can add directly through this link. PDFs are a good way to share material too, and I will be making sure on my own profile that I share some of those things. Now, just a word of warning about documents and how they display. They don't always do that well on LinkedIn, but it might be a bit of a fiddle, but if you can get it right, it really makes a difference. So I recommend making sure that you have the odd document or image to go in here as well. Now back to our controls again, just for a moment or two. This is the blue editing pen that I have already mentioned, and when you click on this gives you some new controls that were not possible before on the go back a second. These were not possible on the About section before. So this is a new feature of Featured that you can change the order of your material on the Featured section. So you can just grab and hold these and just move them down or up the page, and you'll find that the order changes quite happily without any difficulty. Now, the blue editing pen also gives you edit and delete. So you can edit your title and you can delete and the description as well. And you can also delete the piece if you want to. Now, I think the delete is going to be quite important for us because many of us are going to find there are so many things we want to put in our featured section that it's going to get out of date as we add more, and we want to make sure that we are able to keep it in a good order. So a bit of housework or housekeeping is going to be required. Again, when you're finished, click the done button. Now then, that's how you use it. Those are some of the main pieces about it, and I wanted just to take a moment to talk about some of the reasons why I think this is such an amazing thing. Then we're going to have a look at some examples. I think this is a game changer for LinkedIn profiles because it does a number of things. It makes your profile much more visual. And with the rise and rise and rise of video, we are more than ever looking for things that are colorful, that grab our attention, and that we want to make sure that we get to see. And so that's why I think that things being more visual on LinkedIn is going to be important. I think too that there are some opportunities here for us to be a bit more direct if we are selling something, and I will show you some examples of how that's done quite well too. So you could send somebody, for example, to your sales page or your landing page on your website without any problem. Again, not really possible before. If you have a newsletter and a sign up page on your website, then getting people to go to that through your profile is a great idea as well. Now, the posts is something that I'm particularly pleased about because if you've got a post that has done very well and it's going to be relevant for a longer period of time than it would normally be seen in news feeds for about a fortnight, then you can add it to your profile through the featured section and it will have a longer life. I think that might affect some of the long-term viewing numbers of posts as well. But in essence, I think this is an opportunity for all of us to showcase the best at what we are doing and make sure that we put our best foot forward and all kinds of other cliches to be able to really show people what we are capable of and the kind of work that we have done and our skill set. And the final thing I think that is really going to be useful is a call to action. You want somebody to go from your profile and get in touch, visit your website, pick up the phone, drop you an email, do something. And so putting a call to action on here that might be just as simple as an image, a square image that says, we do this, get in touch if you would like to talk to us. And there will be other people coming up with lots of sophisticated ways to be able to get a call to action out there, but I think at its most simple, that's going to be a useful idea for people. So then I think from there, the ideas of using the featured section will come from the different drop-down menus that LinkedIn has provided. A couple of things that we haven't mentioned so far that I think will be useful is to be able to put a link to your company page. Now, it's notoriously difficult to get people to engage with your company page. And so being able to put it and the posts from it onto your profile may really help that. I guess time will tell. I mean, it's a bit of a punt to say that it's going to, but I think that that might be something that could make a difference. And also slideshows. I have mentioned slideshows, and I think that if you are doing them on a regular basis, doing it with an eye to them going on LinkedIn will be quite useful for you as well. Right, let's have a look at some examples. Now, first up, posts. And I wanted to start with this because, as I say, I'm pretty excited about the possibility of posts. Not least of which, because the metrics, that's the engagement, the likes, and the comments on a post, will come with it as it comes across to your featured section. And the numbers are in real time. So as the numbers increase on your post, they'll increase here as well. So if you've got a post that's performed extremely strongly, then putting it up here is a really great idea. I'm not quite sure how easily and well they're going to display, but time will tell on those ones. Posts, great. Articles. You usually put, when you upload or post an article, an image at the top. This will come across with it when you upload it to the featured section. Again, the headline and the description here will be able to be edited. If you're not happy with it, how it looks here, you can change it here without it affecting the actual article itself. At least that's what I understand. So, but please don't hold me to that if I'm wrong. Also, it comes with the metrics, so you can see here the number of people who have liked and commented on these articles. From articles, let's go to website links. Now, this is the entire section, featured section of this profile, and the person who has it only has 2 items on it. Now, I'm fairly certain that this is a conscious choice because what's happened is that the thumbnails are nice and big, so they really super stand out. So I think that what you can see here is a really good example of using the featured section, but most of us won't be able to help ourselves and will want to have more items on here and not limit ourselves to. You can see again, you've got the title and the description, and in this case also the source. So it's come from a website here, and you can see that listed as well. What's next? A sales page. Now, I mentioned this because I think this has really got legs for people. And if you are, for example, selling a book, then you can put it up on your LinkedIn featured section. And why would you not? It's an ideal place to be able to promote it. And that would you'd want to have that as part of your marketing without any question whatsoever. In this instance, John Asperian here, whose profile this has come from, he also has a 3-part talk that he's selling, and so he's added that into there as well. So he's used both the first 2 visible sections of the featured section to be able to put up sales items. Because you can see here from this example, and I haven't mentioned this, that when you look at somebody's featured section like this, you see 2.5 thumbnails, 2.5 items. And I guess the idea is so that you go up here to the arrows and know that there's more available rather than just 2 items. So I think that having a half an item on there is interesting, but it doesn't, as you can see, display terribly well, although part of the title does. So a sales page, I think, has got really, it's going to give some real opportunities for us all. Now, the rise of video means that every profile in one shape or form needs to have a video on it. And this is where you will put it. As I said earlier, unfortunately not native video, and this one has come from YouTube. So I highly recommend adding video to your featured section because it is something that people expect to see, and it's great because it's animated and it's moving, and it again can showcase you in lots of different ways. So video is going to be important. Now, here's an idea that I came across that I really quite liked, and this is a link to a podcast. Now, there are, again, like video podcasts are becoming ever more popular. And so it's really interesting to see that people are using their LinkedIn profiles to promote their podcasts, and more power to them. I'm a great fan of podcasts. I listen to lots and I learn heaps from them. So being able to promote your podcast on LinkedIn is an excellent idea. And the final example that I have for you is a document post here. Now, this is an infographic. While I'm quite a fan of infographics because of the design elements of them, I do think they lose something when they are put onto something like this, because they can be very hard to read often. And you can see in this one, the reverse text makes it, it's even though I put it on the screen and it's quite big, you can see that the text itself is really small, which makes it quite hard to read. So I think that if you're doing document posts, you need to think about them in a visual sense as much as you do about the information that they contain. But there are lots of opportunities for putting up all kinds of documents that you might already have prepared in your marketing for other things. So I think that there are some options there. We've covered a whole bunch of different things that you can use LinkedIn featured for. And a couple of the others that I haven't mentioned, which I will just briefly go through, is this, you might find this one a bit odd. You can actually add other people's posts and articles provided you have engaged with them. So that means that you've liked them or commented on them in their profile. Now, I think that would be really useful for situations where you have a partnership, for example, in a business, where one person has added a post or an article and that's worthy of being shared in the other partners or employees, perhaps team members, their profiles too. So I think that there are some more options to be able to use that than you might immediately think. So I'm going to keep an eye on that one and see how people use that. I think too, the company page, I didn't mention this, the LinkedIn company page, putting that on your profile, on your on your featured section, is going to be useful as well, particularly the updates, so that you can get a bigger spread. This is particularly useful, I think, if you've got a lot of people coming to your profile and viewing it, which is often the case if you are actively seeking new connections. And if you are outreaching in that way and looking to or sending invites to people on a regular basis, you'll find that your profile view numbers are quite high, and that's when adding this, I think, would be quite useful for you. And the other thing is slideshows of presentations that you've made. Now, a word about this, you might think that an example would be that the slideshow presentation I put together here might be a possible candidate for putting up on the featured section. But in fact, I don't think it is, because it wouldn't stand on its own without the audio. And so consequently, when you are thinking of putting up a slideshow, think about it from the audience's point of view and whether they'll understand what you're trying to say without any audio backing it up. So I think that there are some more options as we see people begin to use featured more. I think that, and they get it more, because I think that it's going to still take a wee while to finish rolling out. People are going to use it in some really inventive ways, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how people do use it. So just before we close today, I wanted to say a couple of things. One was that if you are looking for any kind of help with your LinkedIn in any kind of way, please do reach out to me. And I'd love to hear how you're going to use featured from our talk today, one-sided though it may have been. So if you want to have your profile updated, If you're wanting to be more active on LinkedIn and you need some help and advice on how to do that, if you're wanting to do a direct marketing campaign, you're looking for personal coaching, or you're looking for team and individual training, then please do reach out to me because these are services that I offer. Now, just a reminder again that this replay will be available for you at the end of the day, I hope, provided Zoom makes it available for us. So I would love to hear your questions. Please do reach out to me on LinkedIn through direct messaging. And in the unlikely event that you are not already connected to me, please do connect to me as well. So it's been my pleasure to be able to put this together for you today. And as I say, and I was obviously very clear on this, I am extremely excited about it. And I think that it's going to make a big difference to all our LinkedIn profiles. So I really look forward to seeing your profile when you have got the new featured section and you have had a play. Thank you again for joining us today.